Hello and welcome everyone to the to the ISCA Thursday Cup Series. A little bit of a misstep there on my part. I do apologize. Of course, we definitely appreciate everybody out there that is going to be tuning in here to tonight's race at Phoenix. Going to be an exciting one for sure. We have 195 laps going to be on the docket here this evening, so going to be quite a long race for sure. A lot of attrition. I do believe this is a 1 mile track here at the Phoenix Raceway here, and of course they have had some changes, not recently, but a lot of people might not recognize the way that the track is kind of configured at the moment. The start-finish line used to be actually on the what is now the back stretch, but of course they have switched it up to where the start-finish line is on the straightaway that has the dog leg. So definitely going to be very excited to see what these guys have in store for us. Of course, qualifying is underway at the moment. And we have a ton, when I say a ton of competition going to be making their presence known here tonight in this event. Of course, as I mentioned, 195 laps, sponsored by, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, I'm at a drawing a loss for a second there. O'Reilly AutoParts. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. My brain is just not working here tonight, but it will be, I'm sure, once we get it all cranked up and ready to go. As I mentioned, qualifying is running right now. We have David Miller on the screen at the moment. Of course, a ton of other drivers making their appearances. Of course, some new drivers as well. I do believe we have the Jay Saylor here, so definitely excited to see what he has in store for us. I am just all thumbs here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Had a little bit of an update there, but no worries. But some new competition. Of course, this being, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, the second race of the points season here for the Super Cup, with Brandon Pasalacqua right now out front in the points lead. Of course, Kenny Powell follows in second by not much, actually. I do believe only 7 points, I do believe, separating those two, possibly. I do believe. Of course, Kenny Powell right now definitely looking pretty good. He's got 2 top 5s. Of course, both the top 2 do not have wins. Josh Schaffner sits in 3rd place. He does have a win, but didn't have, I don't believe, very good luck last Thursday. Actually, yeah, that's right. He wasn't even here, if I'm not mistaken. So, of course, that was a conclusion to the Cup Series standing. Scott Naslin, he's a new driver here to the ISCA. He finds his way up in 4th in the points. Brian Johnson, of course, sits 5th. Joshua Daniels is in 6th place. Ryan Strunk in 7th. David Miller 8th. Greg Wachinski 9th. And Mark Sanchez rounds out our top 10 in the Super Cup standings. Of course, very do want to take a quick look at the race facts. Of course, I mentioned it was 195 laps here this evening. Stages are going to be 40 and 90, and 5 sets of tires. Actually going to be 4, I do believe, actually down in the pits. Fuel window 92 laps, so that is definitely going to be something these guys are probably going to have to worry about gas in the later portions of this race, but maybe not. Depending on how cautions are, we do have a lot of drivers out here, so I would not be shocked to see a caution in that final stage. Of course, my name is Brian Britt. I didn't introduce myself because I was waiting on actually Big Al to get here, but he is here. Big Al, how you doing, man? Big Al, do you read me? Guess not. Does appear that Big Al's having some technical difficulties right now, so qualifying, of course, still is underway. We just have a little bit over a minute remaining. Kenny Powell out there. We talk about him being second in the points at the moment. Well, he is definitely going to be driving to see if he can't get himself a good finish. I know a lot of these guys have been running a lot of NIS this week. Of course, the NIS does not run near as often as the, I do believe, the A Open does. A little contact with the wall there from Kenny Powell. He locks it up a little bit. But because it is week 13 in the simulator, Phoenix, there is no A Open, so only practice these guys really have is the NIS, and I would assume they have been putting definitely a lot of work in on that. Of course, NIS is actually shorter than this race here tonight, with I do believe it being 156 laps, so a whole, I do believe, almost 40 laps over what the NIS is running But with, I do believe, time running out here for qualifying, we'll go ahead and take a step away and play our national anthem. We'll be right back.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Driver, start your engine!
It's O-Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Stop in today and check out store-wide savings, plus earn double points on over 225 items. It's our way of saying thank you. If you're not already a member, sign up today during O-Rewards Member Appreciation Month. It's fast, easy, and free. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms, from camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
Or there, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so comfortable, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen, definitely ready for some racing action here at Phoenix Raceway. Chad Sullivan going to be starting up on the pole with a fast 26.936. Very, very fast. Brandon Passalacqua going to be starting in second place. Third place going to belong to Brian Johnson, with Greg Wachinski starting in fourth. Fifth place going to be David Miller, with sixth place being Abner Acosta. Seventh place, Randy Mullins. Scott Naslin going to be starting in eighth. Ninth place, Jordan Sailors. And Kenny Powell rounds out our top 10. 11th place going to be Mark Sanchez, with Al Kozlowski starting in 12th. 13th place going to be Matt DeCiani with J.C. Evans in 14th. 15th going to be Alexander Carr with Dave Few in 16th. I do believe 17th Greg Carr. So pretty close together. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're brothers. I'm not quite sure. Maybe we'll get the chance to ask him. Chris Johnson going to be starting in 18th with 19th Darren Mullins. Derek Heitman going to be starting in 20th. 21st is going to be Jose Acosta with Shane Parrish starting in 22nd. 23rd going to be Paul Olson with Blair Holloman starting 24th. 25th, Derek Jacobs with Robert Matthews starting in 26th. And that rounds out this 26-car field. So a nice size grid we have here for this evening's action. Definitely can't wait to see these guys duke it out here around, duel in the desert, if you will. Of course, Phoenix, I do believe, in Arizona. So definitely interested to see. Let's actually take a track facts are going to be about 70. The air temp is going to be 71 degrees. Of course, that is the air temp. Track temp 93, so a little bit warmer on the actual track itself. You could definitely tell that Arizona sun beats down on this racetrack. Of course, the wind's not very strong right now, just about a mile an hour. Sky conditions are clear, which will, I do believe, make it to where we're not going to see a whole lot of changes probably in the temperature of the racetrack, but maybe with these guys run on it enough, it might actually warm up a little bit. We'll have to wait and see. Waiting on everybody to get rolling here off of pit road, but what a job to Chad Sullivan grabbing him a pole. Of course, I do believe he came, he's been involved in the ISCA before, but came back, I do believe, recently. So definitely glad to see him back for sure. Much different than the racetrack we were at last week, which was Las Vegas. In a lot of regards, that, of course, wasn't much like a super speedway, but it's a lot more like a super speedway than this is. This is a short track, a mile track, I should say. I would say people might not call this a short track, but it has a ton of short track elements, a very unique racetrack, as you will plainly see, just considering the way this, as I mentioned before, the way this place is kind of configured. You'll actually see that the dog leg is quite unique to this racetrack. You are able to actually go down into the apron deep if you'd like, or you can run right up on the actual racing line above that yellow line. Kind of can go either way, but I think a lot of people are going to be trying to avoid that as much as you can, just considering the banking changes from the dog leg to the actual racetrack is quite substantial and could cause even a little bit of damage on the race car. We've seen that before. Definitely a large field, 26 cars around Phoenix. You know, we're going to have, I think, every bit of the real estate out here on this racetrack filled out for sure. Of course, one thing that is also unique about this track is that when these guys get the, of course, when they start rolling and we get that call to go green, you'll notice that the pace car actually dips off way before these guys actually have that option to go green. The Geico restart zone is a straightaway and a couple corners away, literally. So definitely going to be excited to see how these guys kind of handle that. That can also add a little bit more anxiety to these drivers whenever you're having to go all the way down the backstretch before you get that call to action to go green on this front stretch. Definitely want to give a big shout out to O'Reilly Auto Parts for coming on board here for tonight's race, and definitely excited to see what we have in store. If you like what you're, if you've watched with us before and maybe like what you see here tonight, make sure you give us a like and subscribe. We are on Facebook. If possible, you are interested in maybe participating in any ISCA events, you could definitely do that for sure by reaching out to Kenny Powell on iRacing, or even look, if you look it up on Facebook, iRacing Stock Car Association, you should be able to actually message that account and possibly get in touch with him that way. But definitely a ton of talented race car drivers out here. Many different setup shops being represented throughout the field. I know there's some EPI guys, I do believe Reaper, and even a Premier driver that just joined us. So definitely glad to see that. We always love to see the competition increasing for sure, as we still wait for everyone to get that call to action. Here we go. Pace car is moving, so at least we got something going on. I thought my stream had froze for a second there, ladies and gentlemen, but looks like we are all set to go racing here. And I'm going to try my best to pull up cameras when I have the ability to. Of course, we have a couple drivers out there in the field that have cameras in their actual rig there. Chris Johnson, Kenny Powell, and Brandon Pasalacqua being those drivers. And here we go. Chad Sullivan, of course, field in his hands. Pace car has already taken that dip down pit road. And this is what I was talking about, how long it takes for these guys to get on this backstretch and into turn, turn 3 and 4, what used to be actually 1 and 2. But here we go. Geico restart zone. The green flag is going to be out in the air for the first time here tonight in the ISCA. Definitely a great restart there from Chad Sullivan as we see Pasalacqua all the way up to the wall. And it looks like the 5 of Chad Sullivan is going to get clear. Of course, on his race car, it does read, I do believe, the 21. He is not actually the 21 in sim. He is actually the 5. But here comes Brandon Pasalacqua, going to be putting some pressure here on Chad Sullivan. You also see David Miller a little bit further back, making some moves here to the inside, I do believe, of the 44 of Abner Acosta. Which is interesting, looking at Abner Acosta's car. A little bit of a different paint there for that driver. We see he's kind of looking reminiscent of what his brother Jose runs, as we see David Miller now trying to shoot onto the inside, but not quite able to get there. For the most part, everybody has single filed out. And Chad Sullivan leads this thing as we're now lap 2, getting ready to be lap number 3 here. Of course, stages we mentioned them before, 40 and 90. You look a little bit further in the field, you do see some battling, I do believe, between Greg Carr and Mark Sanchez here. And I do believe this is just outside of the top 10. Actually, this is, I do believe, for that 18th place position. And it looks like Greg Carr has been able to take that spot away. Definitely a lot of battling still going on the racetrack at the moment. Do appreciate everybody bearing with me. Definitely having a lot of stuff going on here in the background, but we're going to bring you all the racing action no matter what. Kenny Powell starting to fall back a little bit here from Scott Naslin. Now, Naslin kind of showed up on the scene recently, and of course he has been showing a ton of pace here as he comes up to the back here of, I do believe, the 21 of David Miller. You see also Dave Fugue battling now with Chris Johnson in the 99. The 99 of Chris Johnson going to go to the inside. Now, that 99, Chris Johnson has had some terrible luck here recently, so he's probably looking to definitely turn that around, as we do see some more side-by-side action as we see David Miller does go side-by-side with Abner Acosta. And he is going to get that pass completed. What a move there for Miller, but I would not count out Abner Acosta. That is a man that is always saving his equipment, so I would not be surprised if this was on purpose. Yellow flag is out on the speedway, and I do believe, not sure who's involved. Trying to see if we can't find exactly what happened here. I think it might have been further in the back of the pack. Al Kozlowski, possibly? I don't believe it was Al Kozlowski. It might have been actually Greg Carr. Yeah, I think it might have actually been Greg Carr here. Let's see, because he's the one that dropped down the most here position-wise. See if we can't find out exactly what happened here. Might have went a little bit too far back, but definitely bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. We'll try to definitely find this accident. You watch Greg Carr. He's trying to battle here. But I do believe the 64. Oh, yeah, definitely Greg Carr in the 18. Heavy contact there. Of course, the 18, I do believe, is Alexander Carr. So Greg Carr and Alexander Carr getting involved in aggressive, and it even after the fact as he goes sideways right in front of a lot of drivers. This is definitely not a good look for that 25, as he also gives some damage, I do believe, to the 74. And watch this 74. Of course, that being Robert Matthews. Some heavy front end contact. Of course, I think the 25 is probably killed now. Greg Carr definitely not going to be doing a whole lot of driving here with the amount of damage he's probably going to have on that race car. Of course, this is a long race. Definitely would not give up. Of course, Chan Sullivan still in the lead, though. This is definitely not a good deal there. Well, I do apologize. I have the race car sounds off. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. But definitely unfortunate event there for Greg Carr, and even after the fact, there had to be a broken toe link. Usually, that's the only reason that would even make sense, that he would have an accident after the fact. He probably tried to get back onto the throttle, and suddenly. And the green flag is back out in the air. Chan Sullivan getting a pretty good start. Of course, Brandon Pasalacqua battling up on the top. Look at Brian Johnson. Where did he come from now entering the top two? He's able to slide very smoothly by the 6 of Brandon Pasalacqua. See a little bit further back, you see the 16 of Greg Wachinski. Interesting new number for Wachinski. Of course, always usually being the 5 is David Miller's fight side by side with him. It looks like Greg Wachinski able to get a good run off the exit of 4 on the top side there. And he's going to get clear David Miller and make himself, a little contact there with Abner Acosta getting into the rear end of the 21. Lots of battling, as we see everybody for the most part has started to go side by, or single file, I should say. I think a lot of these guys understand that this is a long race. You have to be really careful. And watching back the 74, of course, who was involved in that last accident, he is definitely, looks like, off the pace because of the incident. Now, we did recently actually have an update to these cars, which could have definitely maybe changed the damage model possibly. Definitely it could have been a thing for sure, as we see Jose Acosta battling side by side with J.C. Evans there. Of course, that is for the 13th place position. One thing about this place is quite crazy. As you see that dog leg, these guys all have that opportunity to go down there. But if you go down there, the other drivers do not have to let you come back up, and that could be a point of contention later in this race. You see the, I believe that's the 10. 10 of Blair Holloman actually was side by side there, is still side by side with Darren Mullins at the moment. Of course, a lot of these guys are using that apron. I want to take a cockpit camera next time we come through here when, with Blair Holloman, just to show what it looks like when you hit that apron. Take a look through the cockpit camera here of Blair as he enters turn number 3. And if he goes down there again, if he doesn't this time, I'm going to be very upset. But you can see it, like, boom, look at how much the banking change is there. It's very violent the way the car kind of reacts to that. Definitely appreciate Blair Holloman allowing us to use his cockpit cameras. He goes to the inside of J.C. Evans. He's definitely working pretty good right now. He sits, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's 17th at the moment. So he's definitely been working his way through this field. Of course, Chad Sullivan still your leader with Brian Johnson holding on to second. I'll tell you, Brian Johnson looking really good. I know he's one that always is tinkering and messing with that setup, so I expect that he's going to be definitely getting better even as the night goes on, as he starts to catch up to the rear end of the 5 machine. One driver I'm surprised I'm not seeing out here tonight is the 50 of Josh Schaffner. Maybe traveling again. I hope everything is fine there with Josh Schaffner, because I know he lost a lot of points by missing, I do believe, last week's race. You see some battling starting to take place as Randy Mullins goes to the top side. We were looking at Shane Parrish back here. Of course, Matt DeCiani, always known for substantial speed. He's been competing, I do believe, or helping a driver compete in the Road to Pro Series on Thursdays. Of course, they are off this week, so we're glad to have him out in the field as he's going to be trying to battle with Chris Johnson, as Johnson actually gets a pretty good run up to the back end of the 24 of Kenny Powell. Of course, that is, I do believe, Powell in 9th place at the moment. Maybe even trying to better that spot as he tries to go underneath the 54, not quite able to get there. No, there he is on the inside of 3 and 4, and Kenny's going to try to bend that creature to his wheel. A little bit of contact. Able to stay off of each other just enough not to cause any issues. Still side by side for 8th place. Looks like Kenny Powell's going to get the run on exit he needs. He drops down to the apron. Matt DeCiani goes even deeper than him. DeCiani even putting a couple tires down there below the apron into 3 and 4. Now, that's not a big no-no. A lot of tracks we go to, that is a thing you don't ever want to do is hit that apron. But this track is not one of those tracks. See Chris Johnson definitely trying to make hay while the sun shines. It's like Randy Mullins. Once he got past, he just started bleeding spots left and right here as he falls outside of the top 10. And looks like for the most part, we're starting to get a little of these guys spreading out, which is definitely interesting. I do want to update on Greg Carr's situation. He is now 14 laps down, so the damage was definitely very significant. And another update on, I do believe, Robert Matthews here. He's currently in 23rd, so if he just keeps it together, he'll be able to get some of that damage fixed on these cautions. Of course, we do have stage cautions as Brian Johnson still a lot of pressure here on Chad Sullivan. I do believe we're going to see a pass for the lead here sooner rather than later. And that could get interesting, just considering if they go side by side, that's going to bring Brandon Passalacqua right into the fray. And here comes Brian Johnson to the inside. Oh, they touch! And that is going to allow Brandon Passalacqua to get side by side with the 4. And Chad Sullivan lives to fight another day. We'll have to wait and see. Well, Brandon Passalacqua is going to be starting to put some pressure on now. Also further back, I do believe Scott Naslund and Greg Wachinski are dueling it out as well. Of course, they battle for that 4th place position. As this race goes on, it's going to get harder and harder to pass. Of course, this is considered to be a one-groove racetrack, and I would definitely say that it definitely fits that mold. You can make the top side work, especially if you're side-by-side. You're going to be able to get a lot more momentum, but if you're side-by-side, you're slowing each other down. As here comes the 22 to the inside of the 16. Going to be seeing if he can't make this pass stick. Having to cut deep into the dog leg. He does get side by side with Wachinski. Can he make it work? And I think he will. What a pass there from the 22 of Scott Naslund. That whole pass brought a lot of other drivers into the fray as well. You see Abner Acosta now going to be going on the inside of the 21. And while we were watching back here, I do believe Brandon Passalacqua has taken the lead. Chad Sullivan now under fire, of course, from Brian Johnson, but we're almost seeing a 3-wide scenario back here as Abner Acosta has moved his way up into 6th place. David Miller now being challenged by Matt DeCiani. DeCiani definitely seems like he's coming on strong here late in the run. I want to take a quick look at lap times here on the racetrack. Of course, Brandon Passalacqua, I do believe, was the fastest on the track. Oh, no, mark that. Derek Heitman, fastest on the racetrack last time by, but it looks like this actual time by that just crossed the line was actually Scott Naslin. So a whole lot of back and forth. Now, this is a track where you want to be consistent. It's so easy to fall off, and I'm thinking we're seeing exactly that from Chad Sullivan. If you look at him, he is actually running a 29.073 versus that's almost the slowest in the field, I do believe. So definitely going to be having to get it together right now. Maybe that was as a result of him battling with someone, but he's definitely going to be under fire, I do believe, from Scott Naslin here in just a few moments, just considering he's a couple tenths off the pace. And we were talking about one of the biggest movers so far has been Derek Heitman. He is now up into that 8th place position, now going to be challenging David Miller. Of course, DeCiani was able to navigate his way around him. Now, I know Derek Heitman's one that's also been running a whole lot of NIS this week. Has been looking fantastic out there. Definitely been loving the competition this week from all the setup shops as Derek Heitman gets all close to the back end of the 21. Looks like he's not going to be able to get that pass completed, though. He got really close to the rear end. Now, this is a track to where short track tempers could definitely flare later in this race. As we're verging on, I believe now we have 10 laps to go here in the stage. Chad Sullivan under clear and present fire at the moment as Scott Naslin has gotten him by him. I do believe we missed a 3-wide scenario. Greg Wachinski now going to be seeing if he can't work his way around, along with Abner Acosta right there in tow. Now, of course, this is very important. All these guys want to get as many stage points as they possibly can. We've talked about that plenty of times, how important these stage points here are. Derek Jacobs actually has already gone a lap down, unfortunately. You hate to see that for sure this early in the event. Hopefully he'll be able to grab that lucky dog. But everybody has been falling off quite substantially. They start down into the almost 29-second lap, so that's almost 2 seconds of fall off already, and we're not even at some of the longest runs that are possible here tonight. As I mentioned before, the fuel window, 92 laps. So tires are going to be something that these guys are going to be wanting a lot more than fuel, I would assume, as we saw. Look at that. You can tell Sullivan's getting really tight at the moment. So definitely going to be wanting to lay some adjustments into that race car. But Brandon Pasalacqua has it all right in hand. The only person really even in touching distance is Brian Johnson. Can he get up there and possibly tussle with this 6? Brandon Pasalacqua has looked so good the last several weeks, and I've been so excited to see what this guy's future is going to hold as he has gotten multiple, I do believe, top 5s. Of course, I don't believe he's been back to victory lane, if I'm not mistaken, but I know he's been very, very close to it. Chad Sullivan continuing to fall through this field. Of course, he was the pole sitter. Now going to be under fire from David Miller, possibly. Derek Heitman, though, I've been very impressed with the speed he's showing here tonight. He has definitely been really, really quick, and I think he might even be faster than Abner Acosta, which is really, really saying something. I think that Derek Heitman has been improving and improving. Of course, he was one of those guys that he just showed up and was really good automatically, but those guys still have that wiggle room to improve, as we see David Miller get past, or actually past Chad Sullivan. Of course, Shane Parrish also able to do so. Shane Parrish looking really good here tonight as well, as he rides, I do believe, in that 8th place position in that 66 Mars machine. So he's actually going to challenge the 21 here, David Miller. Side by side right now. It looks like I do believe this is for, I do believe, 7th at the moment. And it looks like Shane Parrish is going to be able to get it. And you could definitely tell that the priority here tonight is going to be tire wear, saving the tire as best as you can. And I think Shane Parrish is definitely exemplifying that at the moment. Definitely putting that on display. Same thing with Derek Heitman. I mean, a lot of these guys that have been saving seem like they're being paid dividends here late in the run. So definitely expect that to be a big factor, especially later in this race. Verging on now 2 laps to go here for Brandon Pasalacqua. Brian Johnson's been doing a good job to stay right there in distance, but not quite able to get there. He's running out of time, but definitely going to be some good points for that 4 machine. And Virgin here on the white flag. You see Greg Wachinski has caught back up to Scott Naslin. Definitely going to be maybe trying to make something happen there, as the white flag does wave in the air. And we have to wait for the 10th place car, I do believe, of Chad Sullivan to cross the line for the caution to actually come out. But Brandon Pasalacqua, I think he has got this stage in hand as he enters turn number 3 and exits turn 4 onto the front stretch. He's going to cross the line, and I think he has done it. Caution should be out any second as we wait for Chad Sullivan to actually cross the line, and there it is. Yellow flag is out for stage number 1. Brandon Pasalacqua, your stage 1 winner, with Brian Johnson coming home in 2nd place. Scott Naslin comes home in 3rd, with Greg Wachinski 4th. 5th place, Abner Acosta. 6th place, Derek Heitman. 7th place, Shane Parrish. 8th place, David Miller. 9th, Chris Johnson. And 10th, Chad Sullivan. So those are the top 10 points paying positions. Definitely a fantastic first stage. Of course, we did see a caution, but looks like we were able to quickly get that get some green running underway. Definitely a lot of guys maybe wanting to go get some damage repaired. Robert Matthews comes to mind. But we'll go ahead and take a brief step away. We'll be right back with your stage 1 winner.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms, from camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band. Maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgot.
You feel like you could.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely excited to be back for the conclusion of course stage 1. We saw Brandon Pasalacqua able to grab the victory. Man, looks like you got you a pretty good car out there for sure. Brandon, how you feeling?
Yeah, feeling pretty good. This race is definitely, there's going to be a balance of keeping track position, but also saving your tires. So we'll keep battling that this whole race, and luckily it worked out for me in stage 1.
It definitely did for sure. I know there was a caution though that definitely kind of threw a wrench in the plans, but you seemed like you had long run pace to be able to get by Chad Sullivan. You had Brian Johnson though putting some pressure on you. Do you feel like the car? Did you make any adjustments or anything like that?
No, I didn't make any adjustments. I need to adjust my driving for this next stage. If we go green this whole way, you're definitely gonna have to back up the pace early in the run and can't just go flat out. Brian and I were battling really hard at the end and kind of burn our stuff down the last 15 laps. It was a lot of fun, but we're gonna have to take care of our tires a little bit better for sure.
Well, we definitely expect a lot from you. You've been doing fantastic since you came back here to the ISCA. Definitely, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think you're the points leader at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see how that all kind of turns out. I know the pace car lights are getting ready to go out. Briefly, who can we give a shout out to after this performance, or so far?
Yeah, right now just the G&G boys putting a lot of work this week, so I appreciate their help. So ready to rock and roll here.
All right, well, we're definitely ready to watch you rock and roll. Thanks for your time, Brandon, and great job on the stage 1 victory.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Brian.
Of course, that was Brandon Pine for him as we get ready to go back green here once again. Pace car heading down pit road. Of course, we do have a little bit of a wait here on this back stretch as these guys definitely get their breath steadied and make sure that they're all in focus mode for stage number 2. Now, of course, this one goes to lap 90 to 91. But what a job on pit road from Scott Naslin's crew, able to jump all the way up into second place. Also from Derek Heitman's group, all the way up into third as the green flag is back out in the air once again. Brandon Passalacqua with a pretty good restart as we go 3 wide almost. Actually, yeah, 3 wide for second place for just a moment there. Still side by side, Greg Wachinski, Scott Naslin. These guys have been battling all race long in that first stage. Oh, as Greg Wachinski tries to clear himself on, I do believe, Derek Heitman, barely is able to get clear. I think Heitman might have cut him a little bit of a break there, but I don't think he's going to cut him a break for long here as he tries to get the run on exit to turn 2 on the front stretch here. Side by side, and what a run from the 76 up on the high side. Is he going to be able to get clear? Wachinski not going to be denied. It looks like Wachinski does fall into line here. Also see some side-by-side battling further back. I do believe David Miller fights with Chad Sullivan. And we also see Darren Mullins and Jose Acosta side-by-side at the moment.
Yeah, and if I could just interject here, Brian, I think I'm officially at a point where I can consider myself stable, so I can actually help you call this this race that we got going on here tonight.
We're glad to have you, Big Al, for sure. I think I was doing okay, but I'm glad to have you here.
Yeah, you're doing awesome, bud. I've just been having a lot of internet issues here. As we're 4 wide here coming around the corner. Kenny Powell's doing everything he can, but looks like he is going to have David Fuse on his rear side there in the 71. These guys could be battling for what looks to be somewhere at about 13th position.
Yeah, they definitely are battling hard at the moment. You see J.C. Evans right there on the inside trying to make something happen against this 55 of, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, 55, the new driver, Jordan Sailors. No, I do believe. Yeah, I think that's Jordan Sailors there in the 55. So definitely loving these new guys joining in here in the league, and they always hit the ground running, it seems like, with the new guys we have here.
Yeah, the double nickel, they're doing exactly everything he needs to do in order to solidify himself a position here tonight. Good to see that we got an old-time faithful there. Looks like Chris D. Johnson is going to be in the 99 tonight, not running his usual 48.
Yeah, also we got Scott Naslin, who took the lead there from Brandon Passalacqua just a few laps ago. What a fantastic performance from him so far tonight. He has been looking really strong in that 22. As here comes, I do believe, side-by-side Derek Heitman with Brandon Passalacqua. And Heitman's been making moves all night long. He is really, really fast. Started all the way, I do believe, outside of the top 10 and has been steadily working his way up through the field.
Yeah, started outside of the top 10 to be 20th. And 20th to be exact here, man. I'm just trying to get my legs underneath me. You've been calling this thing here turn by turn. But, yeah, green flag racing does continue. Jose Acosta in the 44 slowly going to have – no, Abner Acosta in the 44 going to have David Miller kind of pull it on him. And it's unusual to see Abner kind of back in the pack there as he is currently snug back in 8th place. But, look, we're going 3-4 wide here in the turns here, Brian. I mean, a lot of good talent here tonight, a lot of new drivers, and just hats off green flag clean racing so far.
Yeah, now, of course, we did have the one caution in stage number 1, but, I mean, so far, even, with that one caution, we've seen a whole lot more of that in NIS, but, of course, ISCA always known for being very clean and green, and I don't expect we're going to see a whole lot. Probably going to be able to count them all on one hand if we do end up having any cautions tonight.
Yeah, I hope you don't have to go more than that because you South Carolina people probably going to have to take your shoes and your socks off. You got to go more than 5.
That's right. You're right about that. I'll be counting on my toes. That's for sure. I can't go past 10.
Good to be back here, though, man. And just being away here for a while, it seems like I hadn't been in the ISCA since Saturday, so that's been a while here. But man, these guys are definitely putting it down here tonight, Brian.
Yeah, that they are.
One car going high and wide there. I do believe that was Brian Johnson.
Yeah, Brian Johnson actually was up towards the front in that first stage, which is quite interesting to see. He was up there, I do believe, finishing second in the first stage, so I'm curious. Maybe he had a little bit of an issue on pit road, possibly. Now, one thing we talked about a little bit earlier, I did, about the update that has came out for this next-gen machine and all the NASCAR cars that has really changed a lot, of course, about the tire model and, you know, and things of that nature. But one thing that was really...
and he foul hard in the wall, sorry.
That is not good. Definitely don't want to see him get into that outside wall, but he's going to definitely try to have to hold on. He's got the 55 all over him, but what I was kind of referring to was the fuel. Now, you know, they have this thing now called automatic fueling, and if you don't have it set up perfectly right, when you go down pit road, you'll get zero in the tank, and that could be something. Maybe that's what happened with Brian Johnson. Had to go back down pit road, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, but you'll get used to your fuel selector. I mean, you gotta generally set it so you'll have enough to get towards the end of the race. But yeah, not sure what happened there with the 24 Apollos. He definitely kind of got into the mix. Brian, every time we do have these updates, especially these major updates, it changes everything within the sim itself. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see not only how the tire model plays out in itself, but also how the fuel update actually affects these guys.
Well, I know that a lot of guys have been having an issue where if they have the automatic fueling selected now, it will put zero in the tank. Like, I've heard of this happening, and them guys just going down pit road and not taking any fuel at all. And that could be a big issue, especially when you got 195 laps that you got to pull off.
Yeah, when you're sitting there and you're waiting on to get 4 tires changed specifically.
And you don't get
any
gas.
So at that point, you know, you really don't understand what your fuel's set until you roll back out. And that's happened to me. I think as you go through your progressions here as a driver, you're going to make all kinds of mistakes. You just don't need the software making mistakes for you.
100%. But Scott Naslin still in the lead, but he is now being pressured by Derek Heitman. Heitman has looked, I'd say, faster than we've seen him in a little bit here. I mean, we've always seen him being a race contender, but I think he has got a blistering fast car here tonight.
Yeah, he's definitely sitting under a rocket ship. And, you know, Phoenix is one of these tracks where if you're good at it, you're good at it, you know, especially when it comes down to banking those turns, going into 1 and 2, going into 3 and 4, especially with that big dog leg addition where you got the capability of going 5 wide. These guys got to figure all of that out, man. And if it fits, man, you got to rip it and go with it, right?
Yeah, for sure. And this is such a driver's track, I'd say, in a lot of ways, just considering
it's
the way
a
you have
driver's track.
Yeah, you have to hit your marks. This is a track that is all about hitting your marks. If you don't hit them, you're definitely not going to be having a great time out here, especially when it comes to the tires, because a lot of people, you know, and a lot of drivers, I'd say, in NASCAR always try to throw it into the corner as hard as they can. But this is a track there where you don't want to do that. Backing your corners up is the name of the game here at this racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to be able to carry your momentum, and you got to avoid the wall. I love this track. A lot of drivers kind of cut their teeth here on the legacy version of this very same track. So in order to come here with these cars, the next-gen cars, the 5 speeds, man, who would have ever thought it? And I'm telling you, we're getting our money's worth out here tonight with these ISCA guys and bringing us in here to we're just starting a new season, aren't we?
A new Cup Series season. Yeah, we are. You know, of course, the Super Cup season is still ongoing at the moment. But, yeah, this is the first points race for the, I do believe, Season 2. As we see Derek Heitman putting a lot of pressure here on Scott Naslin at the moment, as we're now 64, soon to be 65 laps into this race, and definitely has been awesome to see. And one thing I haven't mentioned here tonight as well, a lot of these drivers are running setups that are you shift.
Oh, you gotta love it, man, and you gotta love the option to be able to shift. I think Kenny Powell was our last season winner, so he's looks like the 44 there, Jose Acosta, getting a little bit wide. No, the 44 is Abner.
Their cars look very similar now. They look very similar now.
The 42 is Jose. That's the second time I did that. I apologize to you, Abner.
I don't blame you.
Know that you were up front. That had to be you.
I don't blame you, because I mean, look, they're running almost very similar paint schemes now. He has John Deere on his car now too, and he's just trying to confuse us. He's able to actually, I do believe, defend against David Miller. Oh, some loose condition a little bit further back. Who was that?
55. That is definitely going to be the double nickel of Jordan Sellers. As he's still trying to get his legs underneath him, but here comes the other Acosta, which this is going to be Jose, and now he is going to be battling with the 55.
Yeah, he definitely is going to be having his hands full here. It looks like car maybe not handling as well as it should be. I know a lot of guys have that one of the big things that was updated as well, Big Al, was the brakes on these next-gen cars. From what I've heard, it is incredibly easy to lock them up.
You got to love it, though. I mean, nothing brings the simulation to more real life when the drivers themselves get the inputs in and they put that within the sim, and you have to adjust your driving series in order to accommodate the update. And that's exactly what you're seeing right here. As Jose Acosta now gets underneath the 55, that's going to advance his position. He's not going to get himself up in the 13th, but just behind him, here comes baby brother Brian Johnson, the baby brother to Chris D. Johnson, who is running in the 99 car all the way up in the 4th place. He is going to be continuing to try to advance his position, currently being shown in 15th. Now, the one thing about him is Brian did start in 3rd, and now he finds himself back in 15th, where, you look all the way up to the front, and you got older brother Chris starting back in 15th, and now he started in 18th, and now he's actually in 4th.
Yeah, that's definitely a shoes on the other foot type of scenario. We also saw a little bit of 3 wide action there, as I do believe a big move, if I'm not mistaken, from Matt DeCiani actually entering up into the top 10. He actually passed a 2-for-1 special, Big Al. How about that? These guys, Derek Heitman and Matt DeCiani, they look like they have a lot of speed here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. But Brandon Pasalacqua looks like he is going to be battling. Wow, we got a little bit of a situation going on here for the lead, looks like.
Looks like Scott Naslin's starting to pull away at the moment, I do believe. He's got about a 0.7 of a second lead. But Brandon Pasalacqua, he's got a little under a second back is Chris Johnson. Now, Pasalacqua, when we talked to him in the interview, he said he was going to be definitely making a big effort in this stage to try to save tire, and I think that's what we're seeing the results of right now. Of course, we do see Greg Wachinski right on the rear end of Chris Johnson. We saw Shane Parrish was making his way through the field quite substantially just a bit earlier. He is now up in 6th, and he's not far behind Greg. I think that he might come up here and maybe be able to tussle with this 16, and that's one thing, Greg, I know you just kind of got here a little bit ago, but look at Greg's car. He's a 16 now. What is going on? We're in the twilight zone here tonight in the ISCA. Matt DeCiani, though, catching up here to Chad Sullivan. Going to be trying to take away that 8th place position as he goes to the inside. And he's going to back up the corner so he can get the exit that he needs. And I think he'll get it still side by side. And they go dead even. Oh, loose condition, I think, a little bit for DeCiani. No, I think that might have been all according to plan as he goes deep into the apron there. And he's going to make the pass complete, as he's going to try to set his sights on Abner Acosta, who's a little over 2 seconds ahead there.
Yeah, as I was sitting there playing in ATVO, I actually said save butt as the double nickel finds himself parked down on that inside wall. That could possibly bring out a caution. We'll have to watch and see how this plays out. He is definitely off the pace, but not necessarily out of the race here, Brian. But yeah, Greg Wachinski in the 16 say, but I mean, I'm glad you mentioned that. I was totally not even tracking that, but definitely, yeah, good call.
Yeah, definitely. I thought you'd find that quite interesting here as the 55 still struggles. I think he's going to be bringing that car down pit road, possibly for some adjustments, maybe possibly, I don't know, maybe just the car just not handling well right now. Doesn't seem like it for sure, but I do believe we're going to have 15 laps to go here in this stage. But what a job from Scott Naslin. I thought that Derek Heitman might be catching him and possibly going to be trying to take that lead away. But I think Scott Naslin's just had a phenomenal run here so far tonight. I mean, this is his best run thus far. I mean, we haven't seen this guy grab a win yet. Of course, he's really new to the ISCA. Imagine if we see him get a win this early. Of course, we have such a long race to go. I already know what you're thinking, Big Al. We got such a long race to go.
Such a long way to go. And just because he's new to the ISCA does not mean he's new to iRacing. A lot of talented guys come through this league right here, and you're definitely seeing the top of the heap coming through here tonight. So even though these guys, their names might be new to us, don't think that these guys are rookies by any stretch of the imagination. We have got ourselves what we would consider to be a stacked deck. And I think that's going to happen because of two ways. I think drivers understand the caliber of the competition they're going to get here in the ISCA. And number two, I think drivers definitely appreciate now that we're dealing with that 100% fuel tank. Those two things, now who knows who's going to show up here, Brian? And this is Thursday night, and we're 28 cars strong?
I do believe we actually started with 26 here tonight. Of course, multiple drivers have gone a lap down, though. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken. I know that I have to come back around again. Of course, I don't have access to the. Here we go. Okay, yeah, Alexander Carr's 2 laps down. Jordan Saylor, of course, we were just watching him. He's 4 laps down. Paul Olson 18. Derek Jacobs 20 laps down, and Greg Carr 27. So yeah, a lot of those guys having some issues. This is a attrition type of race. It's difficult to get around this place. It takes a lot of braking. It takes a lot of turning that wheel. It's an exhausting kind of track.
Well, like you said, though, this is a driver's track, and you still got 20 cars on the lead lap, so you got to keep that into consideration. But, yeah, this isn't a track where you think you're just going to come out here and jump in there, go out there and just drive fast. I mean, it takes a lot of talent in order to negotiate this track. Like I said, the legacy version of this track is one of those tracks that we kind of cut our teeth on when we come into the iRacing league. So now getting these cars here, I mean, the next gen cars with the 5-speed transmissions and the horsepower on this track, it's phenomenal racing. Derek Heitman, though.
Go ahead. Derek Heitman.
Yeah, definitely turning pretty good laps here. You know, we're going to be watching him as the 18 goes really high. He's going to lose a bunch of positions there as he starts to kind of fall back.
Yeah, I think the 18, if I'm not mistaken, I think he is actually a couple laps down.
Yeah.
You see the damage on that race car as well. I think he's got some right side damage, probably had some contact with the wall.
And that's just awesome because it goes to show that the damage model is alive and well here within iRacing as well.
100%. It looks like I do believe we're going to have 8 laps to go this next time by. Do a quick rundown through the top 10 as it stands at the moment. Scott Naslin in the lead. Derek Heitman in second place. Miranda Pastelacqua third. Greg Wachinski's been doing great tonight. Fourth place. Shane Parrish also doing awesome. He's in fifth. Chris Johnson sixth place. Abner Acosta seventh. Matt DeCiani 8th, Randy Mullins 9th, and Chad Sullivan rounds out our top 10. Now, Chad Sullivan, I'm shocked. I thought we would see a little bit better of a race from him here tonight. He qualified on the pole, definitely has significant speed. He gets loose. Wow, that was a big loose condition there for him as he's going to get passed by Brian Johnson. Now Johnson moves up into the top 10.
And he is definitely getting, whoa, just like that. I believe that was Al Kozlowski. He got into the back of Darian Mullins. He just kind of got sucked right up in there. Kenny Powell was right there as well. Powell on the high side. Looks like Mullins just kind of got checked up, and Kozlowski just kind of bammed him there pretty good.
Yeah, definitely seems like they had a little bit of contact. Might not be done yet. As Kenny Powell's going to try to get as far away from this as he can. Look at Mark Sanchez driving all the way up at the wall there. I think a lot of these guys are starting to struggle here. I think a lot of these guys' tires are not working as well.
Sanchez is taking a very different line. Watch him as he comes through the turning and see what I'm saying. He's going way down beneath the apron. Well, yeah, not necessarily that time. It's Kozlowski actually battles back to try to gain his position. The good thing, though, is, Brian, I mean, this is the first race of the second season. So a lot of points available, a lot of different drivers getting those points. So you got to love it.
100%. I mean, definitely a lot of fun to watch these guys getting around this place. Very unique racetrack here as we're coming up. I do believe we now have 5 laps to go. Oh, no, Chris Johnson with the blinking issue. Hopefully that does not continue for sure, because we've definitely seen him have those issues before. I do want to also mention, we talked about Greg Carr. He was involved in that first accident. Had to, I do believe, come down pit road to get that fixed. Had some required repairs. 27 laps down. He is now back on the track and actually turning some laps. So glad to see that. I think he saw all these positions available. We talk about points, on the table that he could possibly get. Well, there's a bunch of guys that are a lap down that he could probably take those spots from.
Definitely a lot of competition going on here tonight, Brian. I mean, we're battling for all sorts of things, everything from points, positions to just bragging rights. So good races, racing going on here tonight. Is our leader now, Scott Naslin.
And he is now coming up on 2 laps to go here in just a moment as we see, I'll tell you who's been having a kind of a quiet race, but not a bad race, is Randy Mullins. He's been up in the top 10 a good bit here tonight. Definitely has been looking fairly strong. You see Matt DeCiani, though, starting to be pressured a little bit by Brian Johnson. Now, Johnson, talked about him. He was all the way up in 3rd earlier in this race. Now finds himself in 10th, I think going for that 9th place. But he fell outside of the top 10, outside of the top 15, was way back there in the pack, but has definitely been working his way forward. But one thing about it I want to call into attention here is you see how far back he is from the leader, though. He's almost 12 seconds. That just shows you when you get back in this pack, you're going to lose a lot of time to that leader. That just shows you how important I think that track position truly is.
And it is twofold, though. It's not just track position, Brian. It is, I mean, where do you want to be at the end of this thing? Some guys are really going to jockey for that stage, for the stage points, but some guys are really going to set themselves up here for the long run. Now, you had 2 stages go through already, as this stage is almost in the books. Believe that caution should be coming out here any moment.
And the caution is out. Scott Naslin with the stage win, and I do believe that might be his first stage win here in the ISCA. Definitely an awesome job for him. I mean, in order to be able to go against the likes of Derek Heitman, of course, Heitman does finish 2nd place. Brandon Pasalacqua finishes in 3rd. Greg Wachinski 4th. Shane Parrish in 5th. Chris Johnson 6th. Abner Acosta in 7th. Randy Mullins in 8th. Brian Johnson 9th. He was able to get by Matt DeCiani, it does appear, and who finishes in 10th place. So definitely great job to all those stage finishers, grabbing some very much needed points here. We'll go ahead and take a brief step away, and we'll be right back.
It's O-Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Stop in today and check out store-wide savings, plus earn double points on over 225 items. It's our way of saying thank you. If you're not already a member, sign up today during O-Rewards Member Appreciation Month. It's fast, easy, and free. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and it looks like those pit stops have been completed. I do believe Scott Naslin will come out as the leader. We do have some guys pitting there. I saw Greg Carr there, but it looks like Scott Naslin does exit pit lane as the leader. I do believe Big Al might be standing by with our Stage 2 winner.
Hey, Scott Naslin, Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir. How you doing today?
Hey, man, doing pretty good, actually. Congratulations to you for your Stage 2 win. So why don't you talk us through a little bit about what actually went into you actually being able to bring that thing home as a stage 2 victory?
Well, I spent the first 20 laps trying to save tires and was able to pull away. I burned my tires up a little bit more on the first run trying to get through the field. So, yeah, hopefully made some adjustments, and hopefully we can bring her home first.
Yeah, speaking of that, so you made your way through the field, but is track position really that big of a deal out here tonight?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to pass. It's real hard to pass. I mean, you really have to wait for someone to screw up to be able to get a run.
So I think you just kind of told us a little bit that are you going to definitely risk everything in order to maintain that dominant position?
I'm going to do what I can, but if somebody gets a little feisty, I'll probably let them by. I know I can catch them on the long run if possible.
So is your car really going to be strong, you think, in the longer run, or did you kind of...
Yeah, we're a long run car. Short run, kind of struggled just a hair.
All right, I understand you got to get back to it, bud. Before I let you go, who you going to shout out?
I got to give a shout out to Don Wheaton, Chevy, Buick, and GM, Cadillac, Abruzzi Racewear, and everybody at Hyperforce Esports.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Alrighty, that was Scott Naslin, our Stage 2 winner. Green flag is getting ready to wave here once again as the pace car has dipped down pit road. Everybody getting them doubled up and ready to get going. The field in the hands of Mr. Naslin. Of course, Derek Heitman has been a strong contender all night. I think he's been the one that I think has something for Scott Naslin here. I'm curious. I mean, we always see Abner Costa be the strong one late in these races. We'll have to see if he's able to do anything. But what a start from Scott Naslin as the green flag is out. He pulls away to almost a half a second. What a move there.
I think what you got to do right now is you got to kind of reshape the order. It's kind of like we know what it takes to make a great cake here in the ISCA, but now we got a whole lot of different ingredients, and these guys are only going to add to that flavor, Brian. So it's just a matter of incorporating them into what we already got. So although Abner is just kind of hanging out right now in fifth, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think he's too just kind of starting to figure out where these guys are and how this whole thing gels out. But you got to really give a shout. You got to really give a spot on look to Scott Naslin, because he has actually told you the track position is everything here, and he's got a long run car.
Yeah, that he does. And you know, I kind of mentioned that a little bit earlier. I thought track position was going to be important. I mean, we saw Brian Johnson start so deep in the field and had so much time up to that leader. So it really puts a fire underneath some of these guys' butts when you say that, hey, I got to make the moves now. Otherwise, I'm going to be far back and not in touch in order to make that move late when I need to make it. Now, pit strategy could be a big deal here, though, considering how bad tire wear is. We're seeing so much fall off, Big Al. And I think these guys are definitely going to be wanting to get the shoes on as soon as they possibly can. Could it even be a scenario to where we see guys maybe do an extra stop just to have the newer tires, maybe?
No, I think right now you're telling your driver, hey, look, you got to – oh, trouble right there. It looks like this Randy Mullins actually gets into, I believe that's the 16 car. 16 car going to lose a bunch of positions there. Greg Wachinski. Wow, I didn't even realize that was Greg Wachinski. Hey, Greg Wachinski's in the 16 car.
I told you earlier.
Yeah, right.
Taking a look back at that, though, yeah, the 54, he was holding his line. Not sure what happened there. But, yeah, he definitely lost some spots out of that one, though.
Yeah, cheeseburger. I mean, he just looked like Ronald McDonald going through the turn. But I think the thing is, you just want your driver to kind of stay with the game book. You don't want to worry about what everybody else is doing. A lot of racing left to go here, man. So you want to just keep the playbook in hand and keep him within his window. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. There's a lot of room on this racetrack that you can make turns, but there's a lot of opportunity on this racetrack where you can get burned.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, especially with pit road being, it's a little bit difficult as well. I think pit road is going to be deadly here tonight, Big Al. I'll be really honest with you. Coming off of pit road, and maybe not even the entry. Entry probably not going to be that big of a deal for these drivers. But exit is going to be really, really hard, just considering the way that, the pit commitment or the blue cone, the way it's placed is right on that dog leg where a lot of drivers are going to be right there when you're coming off of pit road, and that could be a deadly occurrence.
Gonna have to figure it out, especially if you wanna go ahead and be in the conversation at the end of this thing. And I'm gonna tell you, the guys that we're gonna be talking about at the end of the night's race, they didn't get their names aren't gonna be coming out of our mouths because they were good. They were lucky. It's gonna because they mastered the challenge here this evening, Brian, and that's gonna be the key because there's a lot of variables here that are just waiting to take you out on this race course here tonight. You have got to be on your A game at a track like Phoenix.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we talked a little bit about the importance of consistency earlier, and I think that is what you're definitely trying to drum home. These guys have to hit their marks, and when it comes to pit road, when it comes to every single thing on this racetrack, I mean, you even see the cones that are on the walls at this track that to kind of give these guys a little bit of a reference. And we even talked about also another variable. These guys are shifting, on the entrance to turn 3, especially later in the run. Some guys might not be, but for the most part, a lot of guys are shifting later in the run in that 3, into 3. So that is another variable that it's so easy to mess that up, Big Al. I mean, especially when you're having to deal with RPMs and things of that nature. You could easily, if you downshift too early, car loses the balance,
Yeah, but they're going to be utilizing every aspect of the mechanical function of this car that in order to gain the mechanical advantage of going through the turns. So downshifting is going to give you that. It's going to allow you to be able to get those RPMs up, get back on the throttle a little bit sooner, and actually utilize that as opposed to actually braking. Because at a track like Phoenix, once you actually put that heat into those brakes, it's hard to get that out of there. So the guy's going to utilize the advantage of having that 5-speed gearbox that we do have here.
Yeah, you even see right now, you can see Matt DeCiani. We're on board right now with him, and he is shifting. He is definitely shifting through these corners, especially in 3. You'll see it right here, ladies and gentlemen. When he enters 3, he is going to drop down into 3rd gear. I do believe, well, he didn't do it that time, so I think he is actually in a 4th gear, 5th gear setup. He is shifting up to 5th on the straightaways, as you can see, but some guys are in that 3rd to 4th gear setup.
Yeah, right now, though, Matt is looking like he is trying to get around the Acosta brothers. So at that point, he is just trying to maneuver as much as with the slipstream as he can. I don't think he is really trying to downshift because it will cause the car to kind of do a little bit of different thing. At this point, he's really just backing his corners up and just kind of rolling with these two until he gets around them and he can kind of get back to his own pace, if you will.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that it's something with the setup that he's running. Of course, a lot of these guys are in multiple different setups. We have a bunch of different setup shops, and of course, tinkerers and builders themselves being represented here in the ISCA. And a lot of these guys, some guys are running in 3rd and 4th gear setups. Some guys are in 4th and 5th. But I think you're right, though. I think he is just trying to take it easy. He's just trying to stay behind these guys, keep them in sight, and at some point, Matt DeCiani is going to say it's go time. And he's been one of those guys. The same thing with Derek Heitman. They've been one of those guys that are really successful on the long runs, it seems like, and it seems like they're possibly saving, and then they hit that go button at a certain time.
But what I'm saying, I guess what I'm trying to say is I think Matt DeCiani is at a point where he understands that he doesn't have to pass just one Acosta. He has to pass 2 Acosta. So right now, I think he's faster than both of them, but he is just trying to figure out when's going to be the best time to kind of get around these guys. And then I think you'll see him go back to running his own pace. But right now, I think he's kind of relegated to running theirs.
Yeah. 100%, as we see Shane Parrish, of course, battling with Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson definitely going to be a factor, I think, in this battle as well if DeCiani doesn't get that pass completed soon. And Greg Wachinski, he's trying to work his way back up. You see back there, he's in that 11th place position. He had a little bit of contact earlier with Randy Mullins, who finds himself up in that 5th place position. So definitely quite a job to Randy. even though he might have, I don't know. I wouldn't blame either one of those drivers. I'd say it was good, hard racing when Wachinski lost all those spots, but definitely a great job to Wachinski. I would not count him out of this yet. Of course, we still could end up having that dreaded caution flag coming out, just considering as these guys' tires start to wear, they're going to lack that maneuverability that they had before.
And they're in that point now where when you start this thing, you've got the ability to kind of cut like a laser. But as this thing kind of goes on and progresses through the stages, especially when you're 22 laps on your tires, you're not cutting like a laser. I mean, you're kind of like pushing like a dump truck. And that's the reason why DeCiani is really kind of caught up, if you will, stuck behind the 42 and the 44. He can't just kind of go out here, get a run, and just kind of pick his lane. He's got to take the momentum and go where his car wants to go easily, because he still has a long way to go before he wants to bring this thing down pit road. And if you're out there trying to manipulate your car to go where it doesn't want to go, you're wearing your tires out. I mean, that's the easiest way I could say that. If you're letting the car kind of just roll with the track, backing your corners up, letting it just roll through, that's the happy way. That's the path of least resistance. But if you're out there trying to cut and carve, yeah, it might be effective in skiing and snowboarding, but it ain't going to help you in Phoenix.
No, I agree totally. And that's one of the things that you're almost like, danged if you do, danged if you don't, in a lot of ways, just considering, I mean, you sit behind these guys that you're not, you're necessarily not slower than. You could get by them, but if you push it too hard, you're going to burn the tires up, and, you're only trying to get to that pit stop. But I want to bring the attention back to, DeCiani. He's 5 seconds back from the leader at the moment. That is a long way around Phoenix. That is, and it's like I said, it's almost a push-pull kind of deal. Like you're on the edge here. Which way do you go? Do you drive it hard and try to get by everybody you can, or do you save?
No.
Otherwise, you're danged. You're damned if you do. You're damned if you don't.
You don't want to be the first person at the side of the caution. I mean, I'll tell you that. So what you want to do is you want to be patient. I mean, and don't worry about it. Look, we still got green flag pit stops if we're fortunate enough. Still a long way to go in this thing. I mean, you just got to be patient. Don't worry about it. Should the opportunity present itself, take it, but you don't want to try to go out there and push the issue, because you're going to come up short.
No, I am totally in agreement with you. I'm just trying to kind of like put the concept into the audience's mind on just how important this track position is, because I mean, you 5 seconds behind, that's so hard to make up, and it's so hard to sit behind someone else that you're faster than. Just so difficult. And I just wanted to make that, that was very clear for the audience there, because you could see this is a very much a track position track, as we heard even Scott Naslin say. He did not want to give up that lead. He said he would fight for it, but if they started being really ultra aggressive, he would give it to them. But that kind of puts it into even more perspective there, as we see Scott Naslin still in the lead. Of course, Heitman is maintaining quite a sizable gap, but I think Scott, he's got a really good handle on this car tonight. I'm loving what I'm seeing from that driver.
You know what I'm loving?
What's that?
I'm loving the fact that we got the two brothers of Jose and Abner Acosta that are currently running right now in what I believe to be in 6th and 7th. But also we got the brothers of Chris and Brian Johnson that are right behind them. So we got the brothers Johnson and we got the brothers Acosta. This is the first time that we had that. And also we got the father and the son of the Mullins in here, man. So this is just a big old family reunion right out here in the desert.
And Greg Carr and Alexander Carr, even to mention that. But I hate to keep going back to DeCiani, but what just happened to him? He's all the way back outside of the top 10 now. I think he might have just had an issue.
Well, he just kind of burned his stuff up, just trying to get around Jose and Abner. And so he just, at this point, he just had to back out of it, and he allowed a lot of people to go by him. He didn't necessarily have an issue. He got too much heat in his tires, Brian, and I think he just found that he actually had to just kind of go ahead and yield, because there was no way he was going to get by those guys, and might as well let somebody else go up there and try.
Yeah, and I think with this update that we're seeing from this tire model, it seems like a lot more sensitive these tires are. And you know that's interesting because I think that's more true to life than we've been in quite a while with this next gen. Because I mean, even if you spend one corner, you know, pushing it a little too hard, that could have a long-lasting effect for sure. It seems like.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Brandon Pauslakwa, though, getting ready to be under fire, I do believe, from Chris Johnson. As we're on lap 124 at the moment, so race is flying by quite quickly here. We are within the fuel window.
And there's Chris Johnson now on the inside of the 42 of Jose Acosta. He's going to be able to take that away.
You believe you must be referring to Brian Johnson.
Yes, Roger that. Brian Johnson.
Actually, I think, was that
no,
Brian
Chris
Johnson?
No,
Chris Johnson's up
Johnson.
in fourth. He's been up in fourth, trailing Pauslakwa.
Wait.
I think you might be talking about Shane Parrish.
Shane Parrish, sorry, man.
Yeah, Shane Parrish.
Man,
It's easy to make that mistake considering they kind of have dark cars.
Look, 66.99. I mean, they look so. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
We're gonna have to get a doctor up here to see if you got dyslexia.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But what a drive though. I mean, we talk about Shane Parrish. What a drive for him. I mean, he's one that is also problems.
Whoa, that's
Brian Johnson.
That is Brian Johnson right there. I got that.
I think that was him and Greg Wyszynski might have had a little bit of an issue there. As Wyszynski has been desperate to drive his way through this field. Let's take a quick replay and see what happened.
But you got to think about it too. You wouldn't even have had that opportunity if you were in that straight axle Gen 6 car. So the fact that you have that independent rear suspension allows that car to actually continue to hook up through those articulating turns. I mean, I think that's one thing that we got to keep into consideration too.
100%.
She grips. Allows you to drive it deeper into the turns and actually go through there and allow and hit the transition like that. So drivers definitely going to be a lot more aggressive, but that aggressiveness is going to come at a cost too, Brian.
Yeah, it definitely will for sure. Another driver we haven't talked about that's been having a pretty good day, I do believe, is Dave Fuge Jr. here. He's sitting in, I do believe, 13th. At the moment. Definitely not a bad day. He's right there behind J.C. Evans. I mean, when you got a 26-car field here in the ISCA with the amount of talent that's in here, that's not a bad day.
No, it's not. And right in front of J.C. Evans, you got Kenny Powell, you know, so you keep that in consideration. And Chad Sullivan and Blair Holloman in the back. So he's sitting in pretty good company right here as Matt DeCiani starts his charge. Now he's going to be in the inside coming around Kenny Powell. That's going to put DeCiani.
I believe that puts him in the 11th place position.
Yeehaw.
And, you know, we saw him also was up there in the top 10 battling for position and starting to really move in the right direction, and then all of a sudden had some issues. So I think that he possibly was trying to let those tires cool down, and it seems like they have gotten back underneath him as he starts to rocket his way forward. But the time that he has lost has already been, you know, taken from him. The toll has already been paid, if you will. Actually, Matt DeCiani's a lap down. My mistake. He's already taken his green flag pit stop.
Well, that could explain the reason why he's running so fast.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I think that might mean we might have some more green flag pit stop takers. Let's take a look at the stints at the moment. Of course, Darren Mullins actually, I do believe, just went down pit road as well. So, yeah, I think green flag pit stop's getting ready to be underway as we are getting into that position. I think we have a little bit around 50 laps to go. But what a race so far. I'm curious what these pit stops are going to look like. I told you, Big Al, that's going to be the tricky part of this. Going down pit road is going to be easy. But getting off of pit road here at Phoenix is going to be very, very difficult, considering you're going to have a whole bunch of cars that are going to be right there. And look at that, Darren Mullins coming off pit road. You can see exactly what I'm talking about. He's coming off of pit road, and he's already in the racing lane as soon as he even just comes off pit road.
I think we get through green flag pit stops. I don't think that's going to be the issue. I think the issue comes once we're, say, 10 laps to go in this thing. I think that's when it gets a little bit racier down in the track, or maybe a single car spin in relation to caution, to green flag pit stops brings out a caution.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm kind of talking about is these guys coming off of pit road, the way you have to kind of emerge back up into traffic. It usually with other tracks, there's like apron that you use to get and make sure you're clear when you're coming out. But here at Phoenix, you don't have that option. As soon as you cross that blue line, you're on the racetrack, or even before that, you're actually kind of on the racetrack. So I mean, that's what's so unique here about Phoenix. You got this wide open apron, and none of it is off limits, and that that's what's kind of interesting about this place that makes it very unique compared to a lot of other tracks. There is no other track like Phoenix, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. You can say that 5 more times and it'll sound different every time as green flag pit stops continue.
And looking here, I do believe, who was the last one? I do believe Alexander Carr just went down pit road. Matt DeCiani, of course, pitted 14 laps ago. We kind of touched on that a little bit here, waiting on, I do believe, still everybody in the top 20, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I think everybody in the top 17, I should say, have not gone down yet. So that is still a lot of drivers waiting to make their way down. Of course, Scott Naslin has been doing amazing right now. He's been pulling away still from Derek Heitman. Air might be the culprit there, but what happens if we run into some lap traffic? I think that could, that is definitely a distinct possibility. With how green this race has been going, I think that Scott Naslin is going to end up having to deal with lap traffic. That could pull these guys back together. We've seen that before.
And that is probably going to be one of the things that will be a contributing factor. It'll definitely be present, if not contributing, to when the caution does come out. But I do believe you're going to see one more. And if not, man, then, wow, I just really suck at what I'm doing.
139 laps in, soon to be 140 here, as we have gotten quite a bit of distance through this race. Of course, 140 miles so far complete. Scott Naslin with over a second on Derek Heitman. Brandon Pasalacqua, of course, in third place. I do believe Pasalacqua was our Stage 1 winner, so definitely going to be wanting to see what he can do. As you see Matt DeCiani trying to work his way up to see if he can't get his lap back. And you can definitely see the difference in the tire life. You see Matt DeCiani, I do believe, running much faster. Should be a little over a second at the moment. But definitely, for the most part, everybody's starting to spread out quite a bit. Except for, I will say, Greg Wyszynski. He has been really a rocket ship at the moment. We saw earlier when he was involved in a little bit of an ordeal with Randy Mullins, but he is now working his way back up, and he has actually caught Randy Mullins. How about that?
Yeehaw!
Wow, loose condition there for Greg Wyszynski.
Yeah, but he kind of got checked up behind the 54 Randy Mullins there, who kind of found himself bound by the middle. Now Wyszynski is going to be continuing the battle. I believe he has got the 66 of Shane Parrish behind him.
Yeah, and I think that all kind of came as a result of the 54 trying to take evasive maneuvers to try to get around Al Kozlowski, who is definitely not having a great day here tonight. He is one lap down, and he's holding up a lot of these drivers at the moment, but it looks like Mullins is going to manage to get by here. But here comes Shane Parrish. What a move. He's going to try to take advantage, run the middle groove, see if he can't get the run here.
Could I just get you to say, for the record, that Al Kozlowski is holding up traffic?
If you rewind what I just said, I literally just said that. He definitely was holding up traffic. I was kind of shocked that he was in that groove like he was, seeing all these guys coming up on him like that. I just think that's Al Kozlowski. He is a stubborn guy.
Yeah, you said it. I just wanted you to say it like, say it.
Scott Naslin, though, starting to come up on some lap traffic. You see Greg Carr in front of him, of course, is 29 laps down, as I do believe we're going to have, if I'm not mistaken, 50 laps to go here. Here comes Scott Naslin to pit road, and this is actually a pretty good call. I like this decision from Scott Naslin. He's getting up to all these lap cars, and you know, like, I don't want to deal with those lap cars, so I'm just going to pop down pit road right quick. I mean, we got 50 laps to go. These guys are about 50 laps into this.
That's going to make everybody else come down, because once the leader comes down at that point, you're not going to get faster than he is. So you might as well come on down to at least give yourself a fighting chance.
Yeah, 100%. Hopefully he's able to successfully navigate. Looks like he's fine. Hopefully he didn't get any penalties here. We'll see what Derek Heitman decides to do here. Does he decide to come down pit road? Looks like he is going to be, he's going to have that opportunity this time by. We'll have to see what he decides to do. Because like you said, when the leader comes down, that really pushes everybody else pop down pit road. I do believe we just saw some guys come down. Brandon Paslakwa. Here comes Heitman now.
Yeah, I think at this point you don't have a choice. I mean, you got to come down. Your best case, maybe you stay out 5 laps longer, hoping that possibly there's a late caution.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, possibly that's what Randy Mullins is possibly thinking here. Shane Parrish also still out on the racetrack, but a lot of drivers have just taken it down pit road. I believe we only have 8 drivers. No, actually, I'm mistaken. 7 drivers still on the lead lap at the moment. As Randy Mullins is the leader. I do believe the 55 right there. Nope, that is the 22. Scott Naslin right there behind him on the fresher tires, going to be getting his lap back that quickly, and that puts us with 8 drivers on the lead lap. Derek Heitman, though, comes out of pit road ahead of him. Look at that. Can he hold on to it, though? Is he able to get up to speed? And it looks like Naslin's going to come up right behind him. Now, this is a very interesting situation here. I think Naslin might have lost some time on pit road. Maybe was being a little conservative, possibly, because you know, this is not what you want to happen. Because Heitman jumping in front of you and being on a couple laps newer tires than you, this is a mayday situation here for Naslin if he doesn't get by Derek Heitman quickly. We know that Naslin has a really good long run car, but we got to keep in mind that Heitman hasn't had a lot of the clean air. Now he has clean air. Does his car get better?
The 42 slides sideways down at the entrance of pit road.
Oh, no.
That's gonna back up out Kozlowski. Kozlowski was coming down at the same time.
Take a look back at this as we watch Jose Acosta come into pit road. He just took a very late entry. And you can't, you know, especially in a track like this, you can't brake and be turning at the same time. It just does not work very well in this car, especially when you're having that banking change like that. The car's already unloaded and unbalanced.
Unloaded and imbalanced. You're absolutely correct.
Matt DeCiani, though, right now is the leader. We'll have to see how long he's able to keep this up, though, as he has about, I do believe, a little under 8 seconds back to Derek Heitman. Of course, if you remember, Matt DeCiani pitted a lot bit earlier, I should say, than the rest of these drivers. I think this is kind of a move for desperation from DeCiani. Look at the lap times right now. DeCiani hitting a 28.789 versus Derek Heitman, 27.574. That is substantially different lap times there. That's a second. So I think Matt DeCiani's days are numbered. He's going to definitely have to hope or pray that something, maybe a caution comes out. But this could be definitely a gamble to get some track position, and it could work out. I mean, we'll have to see. Maybe when Heitman catches up, maybe their tires will have equalized somewhat. Maybe DeCiani hasn't been driving it very hard.
Well, I think he's been doing what he's got to do, and at this point, Brian, you almost feel the desperation. You can almost hear the tires screaming as the independent drivers are doing their own thing, even down to the 42. Of Jose as he is trying to get back into the swing of this. And I think that is going to be the tail of the tape. I think that is what's going to bring out that late race caution, because the desperation in so many individuals collectively right now is actually what's going to cause a problem.
No, I think that's true. I mean, as this race continues to get closer and closer to the end of it, of course, we have multiple guys that are on much different tires. We also got, short track tempers. I mean, these guys have been out here for 155 laps. I mean, that is a long way, and we still have a good bit to go, of course. And these guys are definitely going to start to have those elbows out, not wanting to let that guy go. It's getting more and more important to keep that track position. Look at the distance that Derek Heitman is covering right now in regards to Matt DeCiani. Last we looked, he was almost 8 seconds behind him. Now we look back, he's within 2 seconds. He's about a second and a half behind Heitman here, as Heitman's actually having to deal with some lap traffic at the moment. I do believe that was Al Kozlowski. Now within a second, here comes Heitman. I don't think DeCiani can do anything in this battle. I think that Heitman's going to drive right around him like he's standing still.
Yeah, well, they'll both be rolling, but one will be rolling a lot faster than the other.
Well, that's what I meant, Big Al. But look at that. I mean, just like I said, right by him. DeCiani could do nothing but wave him by. Even Scott Naslin. I mean, Naslin. So I don't know about this. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, if Matt DeCiani, this could be a good gamble. We'll have to see. I mean, does Passalacqua catch him? I think he does. With the way that Heitman was able to run him down, I feel like Brandon Passalacqua is going to be not far behind here. What a race so far here tonight. We got to see some green flag pit stops. And we're verging, I do believe, at just a little over 30 laps to go here. What a job. Also, I want to give a big shout out to J.C. Evans. Running into top 10 right now, sitting in 9th place. I mean, this has been a great day for these guys, and that's something that we have seen before in the past as well when it comes to these updates to the tire models and things of that nature. Sometimes it puts it into the hands of some of these drivers that struggle sometimes. Like these guys, maybe this is helping them. Maybe they're like, this is a lot. I could deal with this. This suits me, But definitely a great night so far for J.C. Evans. One of his best races I think we've seen thus far. You see Shane Parrish trying to run Greg Wachinski down. Of course, Wachinski sits in that 7th place position at the moment. Well, actually, let's go ahead and do a rundown through the field. It looks like Passalacqua already has gotten by. Oh, DeCiani's actually coming back down pit road.
Yeah, it seemed that he was going to do a two-stop kind of plan there. That's the reason why he did pit so soon.
And I think that was a potential thing that could have happened here. I kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, but as I think you mentioned, that would be something that a lot of guys probably would realize it's not going to work. And I just don't think DeCiani I don't think that's going to work. He's going to be a lap down. The best he can do is try to get back on the lead lap once he gets back out there on the track with the fresh tires. But let's do a rundown. Yeah, let's definitely pray for a caution.
Yep.
He's not even going to be the lucky dog because, Jose had his issue. He's going to be the lucky dog. But let's do a rundown through the field right quick just to let everybody know where everybody's at. Derek Heitman, of course, in the lead. Scott Naslin sits in 2nd. Brandon Passalacqua in 3rd. 4th place, Chris Johnson. 5th place, Jose Acosta. 6th place, Greg Wachinski. 7th, Shane Parrish. 8th, Brian Johnson. And it looks like we do have a change of position. Actually, Randy Mullins moves up to 9th, and J.C. Evans has moved back to 10th.
I think that's going to put Chad Sullivan in 11th. And Kenny Powell in 12th. Darren Mullins, 13th. Holloman's going to be in 14th. 15th is going to be Sanchez. 16th is going to be Dave Fuge Jr. 17th, Jose Acosta. 18th, Matt DeCiani. 19th, Al Kozlowski. And 20th is going to be Alexander Carr, the second.
Greg Carr is going to be in 21st. 22nd, Robert Matthews. 23rd, David Miller. 24th, I do believe. Hold on a second. I'm relying on the actual broadcast here. I do apologize.
Me too.
25th, Paul Olson. 26th, Derek Jacobs. So, definitely good race so far, but definitely some guys struggling more than others here tonight. Been a race of definitely attrition, and maybe not even attrition with accidents. I don't think that's been the thing. Usually we see those races like this being attrition raced, based on accidents when you get too much damage and things like that. I think a lot of those guys are just struggling. I think this is more of an attrition based on willpower. But Derek Heitman definitely seems like he's got the willpower to beat here tonight as he gets out in the lead, almost has a second on Scott Naslund, and that kind of proves what I was kind of talking about a little bit earlier about Derek Heitman here. I kind of feel like him and Scott Naslund have very similar cars when it comes to pace at the moment. But clean air, I think, is the detriment that Scott Naslund is finding himself in right now. Now, we talked about earlier, if one of these guys catches lamp traffic, that could pull it back together. Well, look at Heitman. He's catching up to Darren Mullins. He's catching up to Al Kozlowski. Definitely not clear cut on how this could end up playing out, as I do believe we still have just under 30 to go, soon to be 30 or 25 here in just a moment.
Well, I'll tell you, he's in great hands as he comes up on Al Kozlowski, because there's not another driver out there that I know would be more than happy to go a lap down than Mr. Kozlowski.
Yeah, definitely not. But of course, he is already one lap down. Probably not going to be wanting to go 2 laps down, that's for sure. But look at that. The Acosta brothers back together again. Of course, Jose is a lap down with Abner sitting in 5th at the moment. Shane Parrish is caught closer up to Greg Wychinski. This is going to be a battle for 6th place.
Yeah, not the way you want to come back together necessarily.
No, not at all. As we also see Brian Johnson coming into the picture as well. So I do believe we're going to see this battle for 6th place start to heat up very, very soon. Everybody else quite spread out at the moment, which is definitely to be expected at a track like this. Drivers' tracks, the cream is going to rise to the top. That is for sure.
Doesn't it always, Brian?
It does, but I think it more does at a track like this. It takes so much more of a skill, and also seat time. I mean, it's not a road course, but it acts like one sometimes when it comes to the way you have to hit your marks. As we see Shane Parrish actually takes that 6th place position away from Greg Wychinski.
Especially with the new configuration of this track.
100%. But what a race so far from Shane Parrish. Has been looking so dang, impressive, I'd say. Of course, I don't think he's going to be able to catch Abner. Abner's about, I do believe, 4 seconds ahead of him at the moment. Some lap traffic there. You see Mark Sanchez in the picture. Also, looking a little bit further back, I saw Chad Sullivan actually make a pass here. I do believe that was on J.C. Evans. Kenny Powell also going to be trying to make a pass to move himself up into 11th.
Not good there for, I believe, Jose Acosta.
What happened there with Jose?
Well, I guess I thought I saw him sliding across the apron. But apparently it was controlled chaos.
He might have gotten a little bit loose there for sure. Of course, Derek Heitman still your leader at the moment as we verge on now 20 laps to go. And what a performance so far from Heitman. Of course, he has not won a stage here tonight. That is going to definitely hurt when it comes to the potential points that he could possibly get here tonight. We talk about it all the time, how stage wins can, be more than the actual race win. But luckily for Heitman, we did see two different stage winners, Brandon Pasalacqua and Scott Naslin. But Scott Naslin and Brandon Pasalacqua were second and third, so they're having an awesome points day. Both of them have been running up in the top 5 almost all day long. Almost wouldn't mind. I hate to put this evil on these guys, but I wouldn't mind seeing a caution to bring all these guys back together.
I think you're going to see it. I don't think it's too far out of the realm of possibility right now.
You see Kenny Powell starting to race with Chad Sullivan, trying to get up there to him. Powell has had a very, very quiet night. Haven't seen a whole lot of him, which is surprising. I mean, he's had such good finishes here as of late, and just haven't seen him up in the top 10 really at all here tonight. It looks like he's going to be trying to change that by getting by Chad Sullivan. A lot of guys going to finish this race a lap down, as you see only 12 drivers on the lead lap at the moment. Blair Holloman being the first driver a lap down. J.C. Evans soon to possibly go a lap down. Even Kenny Powell could possibly go a lap down here. Derek Heitman is definitely setting the pace right now. He's got over 2 seconds now on Scott Naslin. Naslin definitely having a tricky time, I do believe, with the dirty air. And he did mention in his interview for his Stage 2 win, Big Al, that he was making adjustments on the car. Could he have made the wrong ones? Do have a pass on the speedway. Looks like the 99 of Chris Johnson has entered the top 3 for the first time tonight. What a performance so far from him, getting by the likes of Brandon Pasalacqua. And this is definitely got to be a breath of fresh air for this 99 team, just considering the bad luck that he has had the last few weeks, right?
Yeah, I think you just jinxed him.
I probably just did, but I'm calling it. That's what I'm here to do. I'm calling the race. $15 laps to go, soon to be 14 to go. As it looks like Chris Johnson is about, I do believe, 4 seconds back from Scott Naslin. Does he have a chance to catch up to him? Could be a possibility. We'll have to look. Let me look at the lap times here. Taking a look at the lap times right now. Chris Johnson a little under 0.2 faster than Scott Naslin last time by. So I think it's in the realm of possibility. But the fastest driver actually on the track right now is Brian Johnson. Of course, early in the race, he actually fell back far outside of the top 10. It is now up into 7th place. Possibly, he is catching up to Shane Parrish quite quickly here. Could we see a change in the 6th place position? As we're verging on, I do believe, 12 laps to go. This thing has flown right on by. I do want to shout out everybody out there that has tuned in so far tonight. Make sure you give us a like and subscribe. And if you possibly want to race in this series, definitely hit up old Kenny Powell, or maybe go to iRacing Stock Car Association on Facebook. You can look at the website, probably a way to contact on there for sure. And also, make sure you use the comment section down there. Who is your favorite driver? Who do you want to win this thing? Is it Derek Heitman? Is it Scott Naslin? Are you a family member that's watching out there? Well, I'm sure they are going to read back the comments and love to see the love that you give them. But a little bit of a trickiness here for Derek Heitman as he's having to navigate around even more lap traffic. Red car just got by him, I do believe. But he has over 4 seconds now on Naslin. And Chris Johnson still running down Naslin here. So something is definitely going wrong. Scott Naslin probably just trying to hold on as best he can at the moment.
He's not the only one, Brian. Big Al feels like he got punched by Mike Tyson.
Well, that's not good. Did you get involved in an accident, Big Al?
Yeah, Big Al feels like he's been involved in an accident.
Well, that is definitely not good. We hope you feel better. The race now getting very, very close. Of course, time clicking away as these guys get more and more desperate to try to get positions. Abner Acosta, I do believe, has caught up as well to, I do believe, Brandon Pasalacqua. So Pasalacqua not having as good of a performance as he'd probably like here, but you also see Shane Parrish in the picture as well, and that's 66. So we do have a lot of positions still up for grabs right now. Of course, lamp traffic is being the issue and obstacle that these guys are having to deal with at the moment. You see Blair Holloman there. Of course, he is, I do believe, a couple lamps down at the moment. But here comes Acosta, going to be trying to get underneath to 10. Looks like he's going to give him the space. And this is when it becomes so crucial to successfully and efficiently navigate by these lap cars.
Yeah, absolutely. The 10 car already has smacked the wall a couple of times so far tonight, so he definitely isn't probably handling under the best terms.
Definitely not. He probably can't wait for this thing to be over. I'm assuming as we are coming down to, I do believe, 5 laps to go. Derek Heitman in a whole nother zip code with 6 seconds now on Scott Naslin. Of course, Pasalacqua trying to hold off Abner Acosta. He sees him growing and growing in that rearview mirror. Definitely does not want to lose another spot here.
Yeah, Abner Acosta doing everything he can. He is all over the back of Shane Parrish.
Well, I think Shane Parrish is actually getting ready to be all over the back of him. I think that's what you meant. But look at Jose Acosta. I think Jose Acosta might be coming to the rescue a little bit here. Of course, Parrish having to deal with some lamp traffic, as you see the 71 of Dave Few above there. So this could allow for Abner a little bit of a breathing room. And here comes Jose. We talk about a caution coming out. We still have that opportunity for that to possibly happen. Does Jose push the issue and try to maybe hold up Shane Parrish, maybe cause a little conflict out here on the racetrack? Four laps to go, soon to be 3 laps to go. As Derek Heitman truly in control of this race. Over 7 seconds now on Scott Naslin. And what a race from Chris Johnson.
Hard
Caution is out.
contact between the 44 and the 88 of Al Koslowski. That was not good.
And there is that dreaded caution flag. We're going to take a look back and see exactly what just happened here. You see Brandon Pasalacqua, I think it might have had something to do with him as well. Let's take a look and see exactly what happened. You see Al Koslowski on the bottom of the racetrack. Koslowski just, oh my goodness. That's a lap car. I was surprised he was on the bottom of the track. He probably should have been a lot higher than he was. Let's take a look back at that from the far chase camera. You watch right now, of course, the 44 trying to race with the 6 of Brandon Pasalacqua. Al Koslowski on the bottom of the racetrack. Dips down on the apron here. Oh, no, he doesn't dip on the apron. I think that might have been the problem. I think if he had, we would not have seen such contact like that. But that is going to change absolutely everything.
Yep, and that's going to take Abner as well as Al Koslowski out of the race, as well as bring us out to our only green-white checker. which is going to bring the whole field back together. Just doesn't give Abner Acosta quite the finish that he was looking forward to.
No, he's definitely got to be. I will be quite upset. I'll tell you. I mean, if I was in Abner's shoes, I would be quite livid at the moment. But looks like Abner might be. Is he staying out here? No, he's coming down pit road here. Yep.
He has a repairs required flag. I don't know. Either way, he's going to be pushed to the back of the field because he's going to have to serve the difference because there's not enough. He has 3 laps, so bottom line is he's got to pit.
Well, it looks like Shane Parrish, though, has decided to stay. Yeah, he is on 47-lap-old tires here.
Do you blame him?
Yes, I very much do blame him. This is, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I mean, green, white, checker, anything could possibly happen here. But think about this, Big Al. We saw 2 seconds of fall off on a 40-something lap run. There's no way he stays up front. There is absolutely no way. I think it's going to be an obstacle that could end this race under yellow.
He goes out there, he spins him on the restart, goes sideways,
kills everybody.
Caution comes out, field's frozen, guy wins the race.
Yeah, you're right, but I guarantee you ain't getting many fans from a win like that.
I don't think he's coming here for the friendly quest. I think he's coming here for the win.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess, what
I
does
gotta
it take?
try to make sense of him staying out, Brian. That's the only thing I got, okay, bud?
No, 100%. Wow. It's just crazy to see this all come down to a green-white checkered here. I mean, I did not expect it. I thought we were going to finish it under green. I really did. But, man, that is – we're going to have some fun after this race, I'll tell you what.
I think I called this, though.
No, I mean, I think you did. I mean, I don't think you called what happened there. That exact thing happening there.
I didn't call green, white checker, but I did call another caution.
You did. You definitely did.
Together. And, yeah, it did happen before the end of the race. Just an unlikely set of circumstances, man.
A sad set of circumstances.
With an unlikely cast of characters as well. Well, more than likely cast of characters. Those two never got together before, so that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some conversation, I'm sure, between those two after the fact, as we see the pace car has gone down pit road. And here we go.
Oh, the 76 almost kind of got the old false start thing. You got to watch it because guys will bait you out here, especially on a track like this.
Yeah, of course, for the most part, I do believe you have to go in the Geico restart zone, if I'm not mistaken. And Shane Parrish, let's see if does he. Oh, not a great start there.
Oh, 3 wide, 4 wide. He's coming down to the inside. 6 wide, 7 wide. He's trying to hold it to the inside.
Well,
looks like
love the rhyming there. Oh, and then
he gets bumped.
Into the 5
the
there.
16 got him.
That was the 66.
Caution still not out.
And caution is out. This race will end under caution as Shane Parrish takes a tow.
Why would he take the tow?
I'm not sure.
You got to limp it around at that point, my man. I mean, the field's frozen at that point. Once Wojcinski hits him, bumps him into the wall, at that point, field's frozen. But him taking the tow, he's going to be assessed a penalty. And all of that just to come up short. I don't understand it. But, hey, Kenny said talk about the race. That's all I can do.
Speaking of the race, of course, we're going to finish this thing under yellow flag conditions. We've only had 2 cautions here tonight, and one was at the end. Derek Heitman, I do believe, is going to find himself as the winner as we try to finish this thing up. It is the final lap, and it will end under yellow. What a race, though, for Derek Heitman. Of course, was able to make that pass before all of that turmoil, and they crossed the line, and that will put it officially in the books. Derek Heitman, your winner. Scott Naslin finishes in 2nd place. Brian Johnson in 3rd. 4th place, Brandon Pasalacqua. 5th place, Chris Johnson. 6th place, Randy Mullins. 7th, Greg Wojcinski. 8th, Kenny Powell. 9th, Matt DeCiani. And 10th, J.C. Evans.
And that's going to put Chad Sullivan in 11th with Blair Holloman in 12th. Jose Acosta in 13th. Darren Mullins 14th. Shane Parrish in 15th. Looks like Dave Fuchs Jr. comes across in 16th. Mark Sanchez 17th. Abner Acosta in 18th. Alex Zanderkar in 19th. And looks like Al Kaslowski is going to be in 20th.
Alexander. You just said that kind of funny. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, man. But what a race. Going to be going through the rest of the field here. I just kind of threw me off. Wait for it to show up here. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. 21st, Greg Carr. 22nd, Robert Matthews. 23rd, David Miller. 24th, Jordan Sellers. 25th, Paul Olson. And rounding out our 26th car field is Derek Jacobs. As we look at that, going up to victory lane. You love to see that. That's an awesome sight to see, that 76 over there in the victory lane. Glad that that's accessible for these drivers here. But let's go ahead and take a brief step away. We'll be right back, and we'll talk to our top three.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms. From camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I feel talking, bro. We get a hug. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
O'Reilly.
It's O Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Stop in today and check out store-wide savings plus earn double points on over 225 items. It's our way of saying thank you. If you're not already a member, sign up today during O Rewards Member Appreciation Month. It's fast, easy, and free. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, what a race it was for Brian Johnson, coming all the way. I know early, you actually started in third, and you finished in third. But I know early in the race, Brian, you actually fell all the way back, I do believe, outside of the top 15, but still were able to work your way up. What happened, actually? I was actually very curious. Was that an issue on pit road? What ended up taking place there that brought you all the way back to the back of the field like that?
Yeah, I got a speeding penalty coming off. Just pushing it a little bit too hard coming off, and yeah, I got caught.
I was wondering, because I know a lot of people have been having issues with their fuel, not being able to take fuel sometimes with the new updates that have been kind of going on. But interesting to see that. But you were still able to work your way up to third. I mean, how happy were you with the race car and the track itself?
Yeah, the race car was fantastic. Like I said, I fell all the way back to last place when I got that speeding penalty, and I was able to work my way back up to about 7th, I believe, and that caution came out, and then, kind of fell in my favor, right? So I just went full send the last 2 laps there and came away 3rd place.
Yeah, definitely seemed like there was a lot of scariness going on out there, especially, someone staying out on old tires and 4 wide even. I mean, what was going through your mind there on that last lap?
I just prayed I did not get the inside line. So luckily I got lined up on the outside, and I just pinned my car up close to the wall going in 1 and 2, and she stuck, and we were able to pick up a few spots.
Yeah, you definitely were. It was a great job to you for sure to be able to see that, in action out there in that Ford machine. Of course, your brother also did well as well. Like, what was some of the preparation that went into tonight's race here to be this successful?
Yeah, just focusing on not burning up your rear tires, man. You got to run the car loose. It seems like with this tire model, but at the same time, you got to take care of those rears and not overheat them. So, yeah, that was pretty much the key for the long run. Just save your rear tires.
100%. Well, we definitely appreciate your time, Brian. How you feeling about Atlanta coming up? I do believe next week, the Super Speedway version.
Not feeling too good. It's a home track. I love the old school Atlanta. The new school Atlanta, I'm not a fan of. Love watching it on TV, but I hate racing it. So, but we'll line up next week, and we'll see what we can do. Hopefully, we don't get caught up in the big one, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely going to be a little bit of a scary situation for sure. Not get caught up in the big one. I know you've had bad luck in the past. Hopefully, you're able to stay out of trouble for sure. Well, great job on the third place finish. You started third, finished third, and were able to work your way all the way back up through the field. So it definitely seemed like you had a really fast race car. Who can we give a shout out to after that performance?
Yeah, man. Well, shout out to Derek, first of all. Congrats on the win. Him and Scott, I mean, they had heck of a cars. And, I hate it for Chris. He was running up there too. But, yeah, shout out to those guys. Shout out to Butt Kicker. Shout out to G&G Racing. And, of course, you, Brian Britt, and Big Al up in the booth.
All right. Well, definitely thanks for your time, Brian. And we'll see you next time, bud.
All right, guys. Take care.
That was Brian Johnson, our third place finisher. Definitely a great performance here tonight. Next up, Big Al standing by with a really fantastic performer, Scott Naslin.
Scott Naslin, it's you and me again, bud. How's it going?
Oh, it's doing pretty good, buddy. How's it going?
All right. We got a little bit more time to talk. So, what all went into you this week? Your preparation, your preparedness, because you actually came out here and you put yourself on the map. I mean, you drew it in bold letters. So, what exactly did it take for you to get able to come out here tonight and make yourself a force to be reckoned with here in the ISCA?
Well, obviously, and not enough to beat Derek tonight. He really got me snookered there on that last pit stop, man. Shout out to him. He did a hell of a job. No, just kept on practicing laps. Unfortunately, there's no A opens this week, so I didn't get to practice much in race traffic. So we just had a fast car out of the gate and made a couple adjustments to it, and that was that.
I mean, a fast car, that's an understatement, but does the track have anything to do with it? Is Phoenix is that your swan song? I mean, does that factor into it, or are you just freaky fast?
I'm more of a short track racer. I struggle a little bit at the 1.5 miles and just about every other track. So I'm looking forward to Richmond in a couple weeks. Not so much Bristol Dirt, but yeah, I really like the short tracks outside of Martinsville because those are always wreck fest.
And so you're talking about a couple of weeks, and so you're speaking in terms of the future. So that's got me excited. And your team, you're with EPI, right?
No, I'm with Hyperforce. I was just in there with my buddies from EPI.
Hyperforce. So are you going to be putting up team numbers here for Hyperforce in the ISCA?
I think they had some points up there on me last week for Hyperforce, but I'm kind of the lone duck here running, so I don't know if I'd have a shot at any overall points for teams.
We'll definitely have to keep that in mind next week. Looks like we're headed to Atlanta. So the question I got for you there, you said you're a short track king, but what about this new kind of configuration of Atlanta? Anything that we can look forward to seeing you do there?
I'm going to try not to die. That's about what that boils down to. So if I get a top 10, great.
We're trying not to die. Got it in the top 10. Hey, look, that's the best that anybody could ask for. Hey, congratulations again for bringing it home here in second place. You led 95 laps tonight. Strong performance, man. Good luck to you next week. Congratulations this week. Before I let you go, who you shouting out for your second place finish?
Don Wheaton, Chevrolet, GM, Buick, Cadillac, Abruzzi Racewear, Hyperforce Esports. You guys doing this, appreciate it. Kenny for putting a show on. He does a really good job. I've really enjoyed myself here so far.
Well, sir, the pleasure is all mine. Watching you guys down there race like this, it definitely gives Brian and myself something to talk about, as well as our fans something to look forward to. So congratulations again, and don't party too hard.
All right, thanks. And congrats again to Derek and Chris for top 3 finishes.
Alrighty, that was Scott Naslin, our second place finisher. Like Big Al alluded to, he led 95 laps today, and had things went differently, I think with the way track position was, I mean, he could have definitely possibly won this race, but the next person we're going to talk to is the guy that was able to really do amazing on pit road, Derek Heitman. I mean, is that why you were able to, kind of jump in front of Scott there? Because, I mean, we saw usually when the guy short pits someone, Scott Naslin short pitted a little bit before you did, and usually that means they jump ahead of you. But no, you actually were able to maintain that lead. What was the key to that? I mean, was it just being good on and off pit road, or what was the key?
But talking to Scott in chat, because I mentioned him, I said I have no idea how the heck I came out in front of you. It sounds like sounded like he came out in some unfortunate traffic, and he had to get around 2 people, whereas when I came off pit road, I was clean sailing. So I think that's what really made the difference was the release.
100%. It seemed like that definitely made the difference. Lap cars were definitely a big factor as well. How big would you say, clean air and dirty air were affecting the cars here tonight? It seemed like it was kind of more than what you would expect at Phoenix.
I mean, definitely with this new draft model that they put on iRacing, I felt like the dirty air was, it felt like it definitely made the car looser in traffic than you wanted it to be. You had to be a lot more ginger on the throttle getting out of the corner. So, I mean, as far as dirty air goes versus clean air, the clean air definitely helped. During my pit stop, I made a huge adjustment on ride height, which I essentially added downforce, which really helped me get off the corner. So, contrary to how I was the entire race of pedaling it off the corner, trying not to spin out the whole time, I had to share the adjustment with the rest of the team over at EPI because I thought it was that good. I was pretty much full throttle off every corner. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it definitely seemed, even before that adjustment you speak of there, you were actually really, really quick as well. I mean, very impressive here tonight for sure, because I know you started, I do believe, all the way back in 20th, which I think that might, if I'm not mistaken, make you the biggest mover here tonight, and you won the race. I mean, you came all the way through the field, and you had, it seemed like, significantly better long run than a lot of the other drivers out there for sure as well. But that adjustment, very smartly done there for sure, that you had that wherewithal to be able to make that adjustment as well, because not everybody knows what they're doing when they're tweaking on things like that. I know I wouldn't have the furthest clue what to do.
Yeah, when it came down to that, it was just I knew I needed to do something to tighten the car up, so I started with just by lowering one side of the car a click to try to help long run, and it helped, but I could tell that the car definitely needed a little bit more. So I knew that I could go farther with that adjustment after the pit stop because I short fueled it, so I wouldn't have to worry about banging the diffuser throughout the race. So it definitely helped a lot.
Now, I know a caution kind of came out there towards the end, and you had over, I do believe, 7 seconds of a lead. What was going through your mind there on that last green-white checkered?
Oh, it's just typical. I mean, there's always got to be something interesting that happens, at the end of these races, whether it's league races, officials, NIS, there's always to me, I think it's ridiculous, but it is what it is. I mean, everybody, wants to wreck when they're a lap down and disrespect for last place. I just don't understand it.
I'll definitely understand for sure your frustrations there, but you were still able to grab the victory. You know, caution came out. I mean, does that detract from the victory at all? You know, for it not to finish under green.
I mean, it detracts the gap that I had on the field. So it doesn't look so good on the scoreboard. But I mean, taken away from the victory, I'm gonna say no. I mean, I wish it would have finished under green. It's unfortunate that we didn't. We had such a great third stage just to not be able to even make it to the white flag. But all in all, I feel like the best cars finished 1, 2, 3.
Definitely, I definitely agree. You guys, all three of you, were really fast all day. You know, Brian Johnson came through a lot of adversity. I'm curious what he would have done if he had got up here to you, but you definitely seem like you had the best car all night for sure, Derek. How you feel? You know, Atlanta's coming up, much different racetrack, of course. Super speedways. I know, are they your forte or are they not? I mean, usually every track's your forte.
Super speedways. I mean, I'll race them. I don't like racing them. They're normally iRating killers and officials, but I mean, as far as running it, I feel like we're gonna have a decent shot just because we have a fairly good group of teammates that are running in this league. We'll just have to get it all sorted out and figure out, where we're gonna run on the track, what the strategy is, but. It'll be interesting. I'm probably not going to win the race, but hopefully someone from our team does.
100%. And I was curious. Actually, I was thinking about it while you were saying that. Road to Pro. You not running Road to Pro this Thursday?
Oh, damn. I almost completely forgot about that, unfortunately. Yeah, I guess I'm not going to be here this Thursday.
Yeah, I just thought about it myself. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, aren't we? Yeah, shoot, not gonna be here this Thursday, but great. I'm gonna have to run an even worse race, Road to Pro, in the trucks at Atlanta Super Speedway. Can't wait for that one.
We wish you the best of luck in that, though, for sure. Really fast driver, and much respect for you for sure, Derek. Congratulations on the win. Who can we give a shout out to after this big win? I know you got a long list.
Shout out Scott Naslin. I mean, that was a fantastic race that he put on. There was so many times where I would get a run on him, and I was gonna try to pass him, and I just could not get his door or his inside to save my life. So I mean, he drove a hell of a race. Shout out to Brian Johnson on his P3. He drove a hell of a race as well. And I gotta do an honorable mention on Brandon Pasalacqua, because he ran a really, really good race tonight as well. I saw him as very strong competition. Towards the end of runs, he was matching lap times with me. It seemed like he fell off a little bit more towards the very end of runs. But had this thing came down to short run pace or a sprint, a 20-lap sprint to the finish, he would have definitely been right there. Shout out to Michael Connie for, of course, making the setups. Obviously making me and everybody else in EPI the drivers that we are today. Because if it weren't for him, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be sitting in victory lane. I'm fairly new to iRacing. I went out on a whim. RaceEPI.com will set you right. Shout out to Kenny for putting on a good league and recruiting all these new members that have came in here. I was a little sketched out at the beginning of this race because I keep seeing new faces that I've never seen before, so you never know how the race is going to go. But coming up through the field was really clean. Kenny did a good job bringing in all these new faces, and then finally shout out to you and Big Al for putting on a good broadcast.
Well, thank you, Derek. Definitely thank you to you as well for putting on a great show. And we'll see you next week. Or good luck, I should say, in Road to Pro, and we'll see you the week after.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Alrighty, that was Derek Heitman, your winner here tonight. What a fantastic show he put on in the O'Reilly Auto Parts. I do believe 195, if I'm not mistaken, just considering I think at short tracks you go by the amount of laps it is. But what a race it was. I mean, only saw 2 cautions based on incidents. Of course, we did see a heck of a lot of attrition, and most of the thing I think that attrition was willpower. And wow, just crazy to see that these guys were able to undertake 195 laps. I mean, I would have quit at lap 20 probably, but man, this has definitely been a successful foray here into Phoenix, and I like what I'm seeing with this new update on the tire model. What are your thoughts, Big Al? Maybe final thoughts for the race.
Final thoughts of the race, man. I love it, and I think more to come. It's going to get more exciting, more competitive. Drivers going to figure it out. You know, this car leaves a lot of promise, and is absorbing every minute of it. Great broadcast. Congratulations again to the winner, man. It was an awesome race.
100%. Definitely great job to everybody out here that showed up. We love to see these numbers for sure. And shout out to everybody out there that was tuning in to root for their favorite drivers as well. If you want to continue to root for your favorite drivers, make sure you tune in next week. We're going to be at Atlanta. Atlanta Super Speedway is the moniker I'd say it should deserve. But, of course, that race will actually start around 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, the broadcast will go live around 9:15. So make sure you tune in with us. Get yourself something to eat, something to drink, and just chill with me and Big Al as we're going to be tackling some super speedway action. Of course, like a lot of these guys have said, they don't like racing the super speedways, but they like to watch them. And you know what that means. We're going to have fun watching them as well. Make sure you watch on Saturday as well. We're going to actually be back here at Phoenix. Same time I just mentioned before, different cast of characters. Can't wait to see what these other guys do. There are some familiar faces, but definitely can't wait to see them tackle that 195 lap event. Thanks everybody for tuning in though for sure, and we'll see you next time.